Welcoming you guys to One Piece, chapter 1179, brief spoilers. If you're wondering why I'm whispering right now or talking in a very subtle tone, it's because it's 5 a.m. right now where I live, and I don't want to wake my neighbors. But guys, I do not say this lightly, but this might be one of the biggest chapters out there. This chapter right here, I do think, is on the same level as the reveal of Gear 5th. In my opinion, this is where personal taste comes in. I might like this chapter even more than that. Welcoming you guys. One Piece chapter 1179 brief spoilers have dropped. If you have not read the spoilers for yourself, please feel free to do so. It'll be in the pinned comment. I'll also source it out to where I found all this information in the first place. And guys, this is the Emu Hype Fest. NERONA has arrived here in Elbaf, and guys, I am excited. You wouldn't believe it. Last chapter, we ended off with Emu saying that they're gonna leave the Holy Land for a while. And wouldn't you know it, but a lot of people didn't think that Emu was coming to Elbaf. Oh, Sai, it's over. Sai, Emu doesn't dirty their hands. Of course they're not coming, dude. They're going for Vivi. Oh, they're going to this. They're going downstairs. Guys, here's the thing. I love theories. I make a bunch of wacky theories myself. But here's the kicker. If Emu did not come back to Elbaf and run it one more time against Luffy and Loki, they would look very underwhelming. Elbaf would have had no real threat at all. I believed that Emu did have to come back to Elbaf and show them what for. Show them that they are one of the final villains in this goddamn story. And what did they do in this chapter? Emu arrived. So, I'm gonna read the spoilers, generally piece by piece. Let me just pull it up real quick. I was just so excited to record this video, I actually didn't even have the spoilers up here in front of me yet. So, we got a lot to talk about, so let's tackle this piece by piece. But, the title of the chapter is 1179, The Incarnation of NERONA Emu. The first bullet point we see is that we're still in the Holy Land, the 5 Elders. Still, kind of funny imagining that Saturn isn't there anymore and Garling's in his place, but the 5 Elders try to stop Emu from leaving the castle. They suggest that instead of Emu going, they send an admiral, or the Gorosei will go themselves. Emu tells them no. Emu is vehement that they want to go solo. And that right there is when we cut over to Elbaf. And if you're wondering why that cut seems so abrupt, it's because these are the brief spoilers. When more details release later down the road, of course, this will make more sense. But the spoilers cut over to Elbaf. Gerd finds Saint Somers' heart. And Zoro talks about an idea he has. The idea is to destroy the heart. Zoro actually wants to put Saint Somers in the dirt, but apparently before that can happen, Emu appears. We see that he spawns from the magic circle at Orist Castle and begins to transform. And there's a massive burst of Conqueror's Haki. We get a text box for Emu, and we see that he appears to be a male with a beautiful face, tanned skin, long white hair, wings, horns, a devil tail, and he has a very unique design. Of course, because of the tan skin and white hair and the wings, people automatically assume he looks like a Lunarian. Hell, he kind of sounds like Lunarian here, but we do have to wait for the images because apparently he looks freaking crazy. We get the introduction box, and it says, one of the 20 founders of the world government. Special power, devil fruit. That right there, in my opinion, really raised the alarms. Like, what does that even mean? Like, generally, when we hear about a character having a devil fruit, we get the description. Here, we do not get that. Instead, It simply says that Emu has devil fruit powers. My immediate assumption, this is just a theory, I think he's the progenitor of devil fruits. It's either that or he has the devil fruit, which we'll get to here in a second because there's more descriptions of Emu coming up here in a second. It goes on and says that he's the king of the world, and the full name is revealed yet again. We already knew this, but it declares him as Saint NERONA Emu. Do you guys know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when Kaido landed in front of Kid, Basil Hawkins, Killer, and Apu, and we were all just awestruck. It was like, yo, what the hell is in front of us? What is this thing? What is the narrator yapping about? That is the vibe this gives off. We are meeting a powerhouse here. Oda is not effing around with this design. That is the thing, right? Oda talks about, oh, you know, I don't want to make characters too perfect, too cool. You know, generally you have to dial them back in a little bit. It looks like Oda forgot about that. Yeah, Oda, it sounds like he really locked in to make Emu seem like a villain, to give him an amazing, immaculate design. And first thing to tackle about this is that Emu is now confirmed as a male. That is right. What we heard about from Ivankov way back when during the Reverie turns out to be true. This is Emu-sei, a male celestial dragon. So this does kill all of the big mommy emu theories out there. Emu is now declared a he. I personally really enjoy this. You know, not to be sexist, but I always wanted Emu to be a male, and it feels like I just went to a baby shower and boom, the balloons are blowing up and they're all blue. This is great. And now, is he a Lunarian? I am hesitant to say that off rip, because if he does simply have the devil fruit, then this could just be a full-ass transformation. So I do want to reserve my judgment on that. But based off the description, if you want to believe he's a Lunarian or a Lunarian hybrid spinoff, I think that is very plausible, right? It makes sense why you believe that. So I do not hate that theory whatsoever. Next thing's next, the devil tail. Yes, that is right. He has a devil tail, and we should have seen this coming. I mean, granted, you know, a lot of us did talk about this when the Reverie chapter was coming out, but Sabo and King Koberg both got hit by what seems to be a devil's tail. Of course, because Gunko was later revealed to have the Arrow no Mi, and because it looked very similar to what we saw at the Reverie, people just assumed that maybe Gunko was in the background somewhere, or maybe Emu used Gunko's Arrow no Mi. No, that is not the case. Emu is the one with the devil tail. That was actually our first real hint at what Emu actually was, and I love it. You know, that was the big talk of the town back in the day. Like, oh, he has a devil tail? It reminds us of cartoon devils or just devil depictions in general, right? They all have that spiky barbed tail. There we go. So I bet some of you guys might be saying, Sai, is that really it? Is that all this chapter has? Hear me out. We are not done yet. Lock back in one more time, brother, because the description of Emu continues. We see that when they arrive in Elbaf, they are sitting atop of the tallest tower of Aris Castle, and they are emanating a strong force of COC hockey. And what happens is that when they arrive, the houses and trees in Elbaf start to come to life, and they're laughing with evil faces. Dude, this is just like Big Mom and how she has homies. Emu is bringing things to life, and they're like demonified. Oh, they got evil freaking aura. Emu, again, appears to be male, handsome features, and he also has black clouds surrounding him. Very similar to the Gorosei and Rob Lucci, right? They're awakened, boom, black clouds. Of course, for Emu, we still don't know what the hell's going on with him specifically, but he does have the black clouds. He has very long horns, similar to Kaido and ancient giants, but his horns curve twice, forming the letter S. He is not wearing a shirt. I love how that's one of the descriptors. He's not wearing a shirt. He is flexing the pecs, but he does have a cape with a logo on it, but we do not get to see the full logo. I'm assuming, this is a guess, that it's going to be the NERONA clan logo. That is just my assumption. We'll see when the chapter releases. He has tan skin, very similar to a Lunarian king. He also has a devil tail similar to the one that we saw that pierced Sabo. They go on, and they say that he has white circular tattoos all over his body. And he has an eye tattoo on his right hand. Huh? I think that eye, this is presumptuous. Again, this is a theory here. I think that's the reason why Brook was paralyzed 2 chapters ago. Remember that? Brook was charging Emu because Emu was attacking Usopp, and then Gunko-Emu did this, and then Brook couldn't move. I think that might be why. I think the eye might have paralytic properties. Again, just a theory. They go on, and they say that he also has a tattoo on the left side of his face, and they retouch on the black Hagoromo cloud that Emu has, because it's not like Rob Lucci and the Elders specifically, because Emu's actually has eyes in them. Instead of the swirly pattern, his black clouds have eyes. Bruh, who are we dealing with here? Donzo? Yu Hawaha from Bleach? What is Oda cooking? The leaker goes on and says that it's similar to those of a biblically accurate Othanim, often depicted online. I generally saw this with seraphims as well. It's like these winged creatures and there's just eyes everywhere. Yes, Oda is in his effing bag. I love this so much. It's funny. This is actually my wallpaper. I do have this as a wallpaper from like a video game. So seeing that Oda's doing this, I was like, yo, like what's going on here? I don't know, man. As a villain enjoyer, as a villain fan, this might be one of my favorite chapters. Of course, I do not have the images yet. I do not see it for myself. But based on the description, we are eating, guys. We, One Piece fans in general, we finally have a final villain that we can flex. Go to like other series, right? There's always one giant iconic villain that everybody talks about. Oh, you're with Bleach. Oh, we got Aizen Yu Hawaha. Oh, Naruto. Man, dude, look, we got Madara. We got Obito, Kaguya. Well, people don't really flex Kaguya, but you know what I mean. Just this right here is a final villain that I'm proud of. I'm just reading this description of Emu, and I'm like, oh my God. I can show my non-One Piece friends this and be like, yo, look at this freaking dude. Isn't he crazy? Oh my God, dude. 2 more things. He also has a weapon. I've seen some people describing his weapon as a sword, but Pewpiece describes it as a polearm. So there is that distinction there. Pewpiece says that the butt end of the tip has black clouds. Of course it does. Of course his freaking sword polearm is awakened. We see that while the blade is zigzagged, it is also curved at the top. Bro, what is this? What in the Viego are we doing here, man? I love it. Final thing, and I think this will be very important, but when Emu spawns into Elbaf, we see that blood is leaving from the left side of their mouth. They are taking damage to our knowledge, right? They're leaking blood. I think that is how we win. Because let me tell you guys, based on appearance alone, description alone, I don't think Luffy and Loki are winning. Loki, last we saw, huffing and puffing, talking about how that big form really drained a lot of energy out of him. Luffy, old man, he's eating food right now. Guys, I don't think we're winning. But here's the kicker. If Emu has a time limit on how long they can be outside, that might be how we squeeze out the W. We don't actually beat Emu here. We simply outlast their transformation. I think that's what's going to go down. And this is so crazy because while I'm just reading about Emu, right? While I'm just trying to visualize what he looks like, I'm also just imagining that freaking blob we had this entire time. And it's like, okay, how does that blob turn into this thing, right? I do wonder if they'll have like a base form and what that really looks like, because this is just absurd. We don't know what kind of powers he has. We don't know what kind of powers his polearm-sword has. We don't know what the hell's going on here. He does, in my opinion, seem like the original devil. Based on the way they described his special power, I wouldn't be shocked if he is the one who created devil fruits. It's either that, or he is simply just the devil fruit, which either way, it is very freaking hype. And it makes sense with the whole black magic thing with the Abyss Circle, you know, giving people immortality, the whole Domi Reversi effect. It all just falls in line. So, this is not in the spoilers. This is me just spitballing here. But I do think it is not that crazy anymore. But I do think that Saint Sommers and killing him, and maybe even Gonko, depending on her allegiance, are going to get a crazy power-up now that their boss is in town. You know, beforehand, it was like, you know, is Emu coming? Is Emu not coming? That was a big discussion, right? But now that they're here, and now that we're seeing what they did with their presence alone, you know, bringing trees in houses to life and turning them evil, yes, I do not think it's absurd to say that Emu is going to level the God Knights up. I do believe in it. And, you know, keep in mind where we left off with Saint Sommers. The only thing we heard about Saint Sommers in this chapter was that Zoro is ready to kill this dude. Zoro is ready to destroy the heart. I think Saint Sommers is going to come back up. Yeah, you know, that's usually how it goes, right? Before we get like the finishing blow in, boom, power up. That right there is where I would put my money. But again, just a theory. Guys, this is a generational chapter. We are living life, and I get now why all the leakers said to stay offline. You know, if you don't want spoilers, get the hell out of here. Wait for the images. And holy crap. Yeah, this is exactly what I've been dreaming of. Again, I would be screaming from the top of my lungs, you know, going crazy, jumping around. But it is literally 5:20 a.m. right now. It's the dead of night, guys. It is the dead of night. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. We might actually come back and read through the comment section later, but we'll see. I do not think we're going to get full spoilers this week. Redon did say he's going on vacation, and I do think that we got a lot here in this video. So, yeah, let me know everything down below. We'll revisit them here in a little bit. And you guys, take care. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and peace out, brothers.